This thing here is a Squire Strat of the Affinity Persuasion. It's a lovely, lovely piece of workmanship. The other day I replaced the bridge with this Wilkinson bridge. The neck's actually quite nice. I went to change the tuners and found that the spacing is wrong. Really weird. This guitar, the channel for the nut is radiused on Chinese 1990s Squire. Bizarre. And the size of these holes was just under 8mm. This is a weird, weird guitar. Also, all the holes for the scratch plate, the pick guard, are of a size to fit a vintage, 62. Bizarre instrument. Anyway, we're going to get some Klusons on there soon. Closer look at the back of the headstock. You can see I've filled the holes with dowels that I really should have lined up the grain for. Didn't think of that until I was cutting them flush. And filled the screw holes with toothpicks and cut them flush too. Just used a nice sharp chisel for that and then sanded it down to about, I think I used 3000. So it's smooth. It's not pretty, but it's smooth. Good enough for fitting a set of Klusons. So these are the vintage style Klusons that are going on. 6 to a side, old fashioned slotted head with a hole down the guts. The spacing was completely wrong. They were overlapping at one end, just crazy. That's why I've had to go through this rigmarole. So to get the spacing right, I've done a whole lot of research on the interwebs and found a spacing that seems to be correct. So I did some trial and error, and this is the template I've come up with, and they seem to fit. So I'm going to clamp this thing to the headstock and then let it rip, and fingers crossed all will be well. It fits on the template. Scary stuff. Just start setting up the drill press. So the template's taped securely to the back of the headstock. There's no room on the front. And I've got another piece of wood on the front to prevent tear out. Fingers crossed it works. Well, that came out okay. There's no tear out. I didn't go quite far enough on that hole, so I'll fix that up with the Stanley trimmer. But yeah, turned out pretty well. And you can see how far out the original holes were. So the machine heads are in. It all came out pretty neatly. I'm quite happy with that. Again, it highlights how wrong the original spacing was. Also got some new string trees on there. Nothing fancy, but the edges are certainly smoother than the stock ones that were on there before. That is a bone nut that I put in this guitar a couple of years ago. The original was plastic, and when they'd installed it, they'd carved away too much of the material on the treble side. So whilst the string height was correct, there wasn't enough meat left to hold the string in place if I did anything particularly violent on the first string. So it had to go. So thus the bone nut. And that is also how I found out that that slot is bloody radiused, which it shouldn't be. But there you go. Squires. What can you say? So now for the fun bits. This is the new pickguard that's going on. I've loaded it up with a set of Tone Rider Pure Vintage. I think that's their take on, moderately low output. Got some new CTS 250k audio pots for it, and I wire it up pretty stock, maybe just a Kinman style treble bleed on the volume control. These Tone Riders are very affordable, but they're excellent quality. Really nice old fiberboard bases, cloth covered wires, hookup wires, Alnico magnets, just incredible value for money. I've not heard these ones before, but I have heard other sets of Tone Riders, and they're really good. Great pickups, especially for the $1. Well, she's all wired up. I set it up so this rear tone control just does the bridge, and the middle tone control does the neck and middle pickups. they share a cap. It's a .0022. It's the same old orange drop that was in there before. There's a Kimman style treble bleed there. You can't see the resistor. It's in series with that cap. It's hiding underneath the heat shrink. It's all pretty neat. The hookup wire is really nice on these pickups. It's cloth covered, and the cable inside is all pre-tinned. Easiest pie to work with. Really good. Just remains for me to stick this thing in the guitar and see if it works. Fingers crossed. Well, it's done. Strung up, strung out. It's all working nicely. Those pickups actually sound really awesome. Very nice out of phase sounds. It's set up with the tone control for neck and middle, and the bottom one for the bridge alone. I need to find a switch tip for it. Apart from that, all I've got to do is just the intonation, and she is good to go.